Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello. Just had a coughing fit, so it seems like I start the show with, just finished sneezing 14 times. Just, oh, heck. I mean, you know what I sound like. I just sound more so at the moment. Jeez. Hello there. How you doing? I hope better than I am. It's February 9. Do you bother pronouncing that month properly when you say it? Or you say February? Do you give that little R its due? Do you say February? I'm just asking. Sorry, you don't even know. February. I think I do say the R. I think. What do I know? Okay, guys. This is the Thursday edition, so it's sort of the grab bag edition. I mean, I'm a little of this, a little of that. In fact, I want to start by wishing Senator Fetterman the best. He was hospitalized last night, complaining of being lightheaded, which no signs of another stroke apparently, but you know, you gotta be careful, and I'm glad he was proactive this time, and chances are it's nothing much. Just saying. I haven't seen anything else about his current condition, but sending positive energies his way. The two most compelling things I came upon today were both letters written to the local paper, and I want to credit both. I think they're really good, and if I had bothered, I could have written them myself. Let me find them here for you. Okay, the one that is definitely not going to happen is has to do with a subject that I've talked about quite a bit, which is Florida, the vile state of Florida, and how I do not intend to step foot in it while it continues to be this DeSantis showcase. I wouldn't spend a nickel there. If you want sun, there's plenty of other places. I got news for you. One of the things that I had mentioned most recently is DeSantis' attack on public education there with the need for even teachers to have the books they have available in their own classrooms, some of which are things that, you know, they have brought in from their own homes, things that are unique to having them as a teacher. They've all now have to be checked by some grand poobah appointed by by the education department or something, to make sure that they are, you know, okay, that they don't, I guess, say anything about black people, indigenous people, gay people, God knows, trans people. And one of the books, I mean, books they're not burning them yet. They're just disappearing them. And one of the books that has been disappeared from a Florida school district trying to adhere to DeSantis's education policy was a book, is a biography of the great human being and great ball player, Roberto Clemente. And when I saw that, I just went insane. Well, so apparently did a gentleman who wrote this letter. Steve Banks is his name. He lives in Carrick. And he points out that Florida has, done what they've done, and that the actual book is called Roberto Clemente, Pride of the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's now, I guess, considered a dangerous reading for children. Steve Banks goes on to say, also pulled were books about Hank Aaron, Jackie Robinson, baseball in Japanese internment camps, Sonia Sotomayor, and a picture book called Abuela about a Spanish-speaking grandmother and her granddaughter. And he goes on to say this is only one small battle in a larger conflict, and many things should happen regarding how to right these wrongs, but at the least, the Pittsburgh Pirates should stop spring training in Florida. Now, as long as I've been here, which is closing in on, no, it's not closing in, it surpassed 40 years. My God, I've been here longer than 40 years. The Pirates have trained in Bradenton, Florida. The odds of them not going to Bradenton are not great, I'm sure. But this guy's got the same feeling I do. I mean, that the Pirates, after this unbelievable show of disrespect to this astonishingly wonderful human being, Roberto Clemente, would continue to, I mean, you talk about dropping money there. The Pirates, I can't even imagine what they give to the economy of Florida by virtue of having their spring training there. And I sure as hell hope they pick it up and leave. Steve Banks says at the most, every major league team who currently holds spring training in Florida should no longer, after this season, when the local and state revenue generated by spring training disappears, maybe things will start to change. Well, I don't know. And Steve Banks goes on to say, and certainly given the large percentage of Major League Baseball players of African American and Afro-Caribbean descent, the league should make the decision to stand up for its players and its fans, both current and future. Steve Banks. It won't happen. But I appreciate his idea. And I, as I said, will continue to avoid the Sunshine State. The other letter is written by Rob Owen and he's from, what does he say? He's from O'Hara Township. And this is so obviously a no-brainer. It just boggles the mind. This has to do with fixing Social Security. Okay? That third rail of American politics and this sense that something needs to be done, but, you can't whittle it back. So given the way it's currently constituted, what is a fix that makes sense? It's obvious. And Ron Owen has it, and this needs to happen. He writes, solving and funding the funding issue with Medicare and Social Security continues to be an ongoing problem for our politicians. And they continue to ignore a simple solution. The taxable maximum wage is currently $160,200. So any of, when you used to get a paycheck and you looked at all those deductions, those were pulled out to fund Social Security and Medicare, right? But for people who are lucky enough to make over $160,000 a year, anything they make over that amount is not taxed. This is another example of how our tax system is constantly giving gifts to people who don't need them. Giving gifts to the rich. 160,000. Anything over that, you don't have to contribute anymore. Will someone tell me why? Well, I've never understood it. Will somebody tell me why? And you see this over and over again. I remember when I used to pay union dues to the Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA. They also, at the time, and I don't know if they still do, and they shouldn't, they had a cutoff so that you had to, given what you made, you determined what you paid. But there was a cutoff. There was I don't know what it was. Let's say it was 100,000. After 100,000, you paid. You didn't have to contribute anymore. Why? What? I don't even understand the logic behind these caps. The people who have that money, if the thing is, okay, out of every dollar, we're going to take 2 cents. Why all of a sudden do you stop with requiring that of the very people who are racking up more dollars than anybody else? There's a treasure trove there which would not be missed. It's a no-brainer. And anytime somebody starts squawking about Social Security and not being funded, all you have to do is look at that cap. It makes no sense. It is a sop to people who are doing very well. Thank you. Ron Owen's letter back to Mr. Owen, he says, now this amount, this ceiling, can be increased to a significantly higher dollar, perhaps 500,000. No, all of it. Why should there be a effing cap? And that occurs to Ron, too. He says, perhaps 500,000 or even to all wages without hurting high earners. The $1 million wage earners are never going to miss those additional Social Security dollars withheld from their salary. But those same dollars that they won't miss will ensure that their fellow Americans who truly need those dollars will have them. You don't have to raise the retirement age. You don't have to do much fiddling at all. All you have to do is tax the rich and richer in the same manner you have no problem taxing the poor. There is no reason for that cap. None. I can't. I mean, I seriously, when they first instituted it, I would be really curious about how the argument went. That there would be this cap. Would somebody have said, well, you can't expect some people to have to throw in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year? That's ridiculous. No, it's not. Because the people who could won't miss $100,000 a year. And if you really believe in some effort at equality, fairness, this is fairness in this country, you could spend your entire time redoing our tax laws. They are nothing but a sop to the rich. Nothing. And the rich don't need this help. They don't need the help. But they'll fight to the death to retain every little penny. They will. So anyway, I so appreciated both those letters. I am of a like mind. I also, again, just cleaning up on subjects that have come up this week. My sister had brought up Madonna's face, which was there at the Grammys because she was. So. And she brought her face along, and it was a face that I had not seen. I bailed out before Madonna's appearance, and my God, I finally saw a picture this morning. Good God in heaven. What? I would not have, if you had just show me that picture and say, who is this? I wouldn't have a clue. And it's grotesque, that face. And it costs a lot of money, that face. And I'm not going to get into why she would do that. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I can't imagine what she thinks looking in the mirror at that face. And the pain and suffering she would have gone through to get it. But one thing I do know about Madonna is she does like to be talked about and does like, well, she's got a huge ego. It's okay. And if the idea of that bizarre surgery on her face was to garner attention, well, she's got it. But I mean, if you want to do that, why don't you just go all out, I don't know, stick your eyebrows under your ears. I can't even imagine. And then there are people who are saying, oh, it's misogynistic and it's ageist and it's this and that. It's her business. Yeah, it is. It's her business. But her business is show business. And show business brings us, the audience, in. So we have every right to react. And, where does it say only positive reactions can be heard? God. If misogyny and ageism come into the picture of why somebody would do this to themselves, it's only in that we live in a culture that celebrates beauty and youth. And some people just can't let go of youth, even though there's no fighting aging. I mean, I don't want to get into it. It's mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing to me what she did. Oh, God. Frightening. I see that, and there's a million op-eds now in the papers today and forevermore. I mean, she's created by unveiling that face. Quite a storm of verbiage and outrage and I'm sure ridicule. But again, that's the business she's in. Remember Michael Jackson doing this kind of thing? I mean, how his nose almost disappeared. Do you remember that? I remember, looking on in fascination and horror at what the surgeons were doing to his face. God, people are nuts. There was this funny little, changing subject, there's this funny little factoid in, I think, the Washington Post that I saw today. And it was about how, what's a college town? And what are the cities that if the college were to just be taken out of them, the city would essentially disappear. What are the college towns where, and I know a lot of towns like that. I'm sure you do too. But it turns out that one right near here is, Burt Bacharach has died. Just saying. One near here is Slippery Rock. And it turns out that it almost was number one in the town disappearing if you take the school out. It turns out it's number 3 in the country, which is to say that if you took the students and the faculty out of Slippery Rock, PA, well, according to the Washington Post, you'd have nothing but a smoking crater. No, you would. The students represent over 2/3 of the population of the town, 67%. Take Miami University out of Oxford, Ohio. Why the hell is it called Miami University? Sorry, confuses people. But it's in a place called Oxford, Ohio. You take them out, and the same thing, 62%. I mean, it's, something. Well, I have a caller. Well, let's hear. Hello.
Good morning, Lynn. I'm just going to talk a little bit about Madonna's face. I, too, like you, did not watch the Grammys, but I did watch the red carpet on E and was just appalled by the clothing of the women. I've never seen anything quite like it. But what I wanted to say, when I saw her face popped up on the side of my iPad, and it was a doctor who did not do her surgeries or fillers, but he talked about, and he just showed like several years of what she has done. And I mean, it's horrifying. He calculated that, he said, just being reserved, I'm going to say between $400,000 to $500,000.
To look like that.
But I mean, do you think that they look in the mirror and think that they look good? I mean, they don't look real.
No, they don't look like humans. They don't. They don't. But they must, I don't know, there must be some sort of psychological thing where, how the hell she could look in the mirror and think she looks good, I can't imagine. I really can't.
It's really grotesque. But I also wanted to say, I'm not a big fan of The View, but when my kids were younger, I would have it on, I'd be doing things. And just think of Barbara Walters, whoever did her facelifts or whatever she had done, she looked good. But when she retired from there, which was about 15 years ago, she was never seen in public. And I think that's horrible that what are we supposed to do as you're aging? Are we really that thing as a society that you won't come out?
Isn't that, do you really think that she didn't go out? She must have gone out.
They said she never was seen. They said she was never seen. And I know several times when it was her birthday, on The View, they would have a large photo of them behind their desk, but she never spoke, or I don't know. I just think, you go to Europe and people look like they're supposed to look.
Well, I want to say in regard to she was never seen, and I'm sure this is something you are aware of, that women, as they grow old, literally become invisible.
Well, that's true.
Right?
Yes.
And we all personally become aware of it. I in many ways, even walking down a street, where you used to have a certain experience walking down the street, maybe turn a head or two.
Yes.
That stops. Or at a party, an old woman trying to get a word in edgewise in some, with some younger people, especially men, talking. You're absolutely it's as if you're not there. I have had a number of experiences like that, and man, it is enraging.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was the first of my female group to let my hair go gray. And they were, these are my friends, and they're going, you're going to look so old. And this is 3 years ago. And I go, well, I'm 70. I mean, you don't think because you have your hair dyed blonde that people think you look so young. And I mean, it was unbelievable, and it's so freeing. I love it. It was so expensive. It was so time consuming.
Tell me.
And you see more and more women, I do believe, that have allowed that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I had the same experience you did when I decided to just stop the insanity, right? Boy, is it liberating. And I had the same pushback from most of my friends.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they will almost all admit it looks fine. It looks just fine. Thank you very much. But it becomes an act of rebellion almost against what I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Why don't we see as bizarre older people with like jet black hair? That's right. Smokey Robinson was at the Grammys, and he's 80, and jet black hair and a pulled face, a face that had been stretched by surgeons. He looked grotesque. I
did see him on the red carpet, and it was it was shocking. He looked like a wax figure to me.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. That's what it does look like. They look like they're made of wax. That's what Madonna's skin looks like now. It doesn't look human. It doesn't look real.
When he goes, they could just stuff him and put him in Madame Trousseau's, and that'll be the end of it. I'm sorry, but when I saw her, and I did not see her like your sister, and I was like you. I couldn't watch it anymore. It was just unbelievable. And when I saw that, I thought I would never know who. If somebody showed me that photo, I wouldn't know who it was.
No, you wouldn't.
Well, anyway.
Well, I appreciate.
I'm going to stop.
You're okay.
But Lynn,
you could
have
go
a
on
wonderful
and on.
weekend. Yes, and I'm going to go out with my gray hair, and I love your show, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye. Oh, God, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's hard to acknowledge the negative. I mean, I find aging interesting. Sometimes challenging. But it's not the obscenity that quite clearly some people view it as. Like some kind of a how dare my body do this to me. It's, gosh, I don't know. My God. But, the invisible woman. We all know what that feels like. It is in some ways liberating to me, because I was, somebody who always felt that when I was out and about had to be aware that people might know who I was, and to comport myself in a certain manner and all that. No more. I'm invisible. I'm a regular person. And it's wonderful, I think. But the reason for my invisibility, that pisses me off. Just to be clear. Barbara says the absolute maximum benefit that an individual can receive per month. Oh, so what you receive. So there's is $4,194. That's on the other end. And you must wait until age 70 to claim that. And that's another thing. That's another reason Social Security, the way it's set up, is unfair. Because most people, if you have money, you can wait until that 70 and get the maximum payoff in your Social Security, because you don't need the money if you got money. But people who need money end up taking a cut in their. It's the whole system is rigged for rich people. This just in. God. Hey, looking at my the obits today, I saw someone who I had known somewhat. He, by virtue of being a reporter, or being in the journalism game in some manner, because I ended up interviewing him or talking to him, and I see that he has died, and I was sad to see it because my interactions with him were always memorable. I found him a really good human being, and that is the very Reverend, to get the title right, the very Reverend George L.W. Werner. He was the dean of the Episcopal Church here, I believe. He was dean of that magnificent downtown church, Trinity Cathedral, across from the Duquesne Club. And he was just a wonderful human being. He was involved in like so many positive things that when why the hell there's not a big write-up about him? This is just a regular little obit that his own family had to pay for. Now, I'm sure that in the coming days, the Post-Gazette, with most of its reporters on the street striking it, might get around to actually covering this historic figure in Pittsburgh. He was, I'm just looking at some of the, I mean, you can't even begin to talk about the impact a guy like this had. He was one of the founders of the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, founder of Bethlehem Haven Shelter for Women on Smithfield, co-founded the Dollar Energy Fund, which helps people pay for their heat. And it just goes on and on and on. Oversight Organ Transplant Board, hospital foundations, directors of a co-founder of the Jewish Christian Dialogue, chairman of the Interfaith Voluntary Caregivers. He was just a truly good man and a bright man, and it was always fun to talk to. He was a good man. He must have moved down to North Carolina. The funeral will be there next month. He was 85 years old. And I look forward to seeing a bigger write-up about him because he had a large impact on this city, positive impact on this city. I was very disheartened to see that AMC theaters are going to have different pricing for if you want to go see a movie. You will pay. You'll pay more for a good seat. That's disgusting. I'm sorry, it's disgusting. There is no democracy left. I mean, there's no one of the places where the rich used to have to sit with the rest of us. They don't exist anymore. And where the people with less money are relegated to the worst seats. The movie theater was a place where that crap didn't happen. And now it will. Damn. Disgusting. I'm serious. It's how I felt. I remember when, this is so long ago, when in stadiums, stadii, how come we don't say stadii? When they started with the skyboxes for the rich. So the rich did not have to sit outdoors in all kinds of weather, where the rich could literally be above it all, in temperature-controlled comfort, looking down at the rest of us. I found it so disgusting because that was another democratizing space. Used to be. Maybe the rich could afford a 50-yard line ticket, but the fact that everybody dealt with the same weather and stuff like that, it's gone. And the only thing I can say, having been in a skybox or two, they suck. I mean, first of all, you are so far away. I mean, in football, it makes some sense because you really see a play. You can see everything happening at once. But for baseball, I don't think you want to be in a skybox. I don't. And for a lot of other things, you're pulled out and away. And I've often found that when people are in skyboxes, they aren't watching, or they're watching the TV. But they ain't sullying themselves having to be sitting next to some stranger whose bank account is not sufficiently impressive. Okay, and now, as if things weren't bad enough. Oh, wait. What's this? No. I'm sorry. Talking to myself. My concern about technology and how it's just screwing everything up. Yes, there's positives. But the negative is going to supersede it. And in a time when trust is eroding, when people don't know what to believe, when purveyors of absolute fiction, like the Republicans, have outlets where they disseminate this crap, poison people's heads, where, conspiracy theories can be created at a moment's notice and spread like a virus, like COVID on steroids, immediately. And it's only going to get worse. Front page New York Times today. Artificial intelligence. And there's a scary article about how it can spin deception at an incredible rate. I'll just read a quote from a guy who tracks online misinformation. He's head of an organization called NewsGuard. And after the chat box, all these other god-awful things that are coming out now, he said this tool is going to be the most powerful tool for spreading misinformation that has ever existed. Now, think of the brilliant minds. Think of the brilliant minds that gave us this. Hey, look what we can do. We can create something that can literally destroy everybody's trust in everything. You remember when you used to say, can you believe your eyes, or who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes or whatever? The fact is, if you're seeing something, well, you know it's true. Guess what? That's not true anymore. And this new AI, artificial intelligence, will make spreading disinformation cheaper and easier. What more could you want? And the article goes on, is so scary, don't read it and try to sleep, that night. I'm telling you, I'm just telling you. No available mitigation tactics are available to effectively combat what the purveyors of crazy are going to be, stop putting it in future tense, are putting out. There's no way to stop it, and it will become a veritable flood. Then, if you manage to get through that, and you get to the business section of the New York Times today, they have a huge article on artificial intelligence anchor people. I'm looking at pictures of these anchor. They're sitting there, looks like exactly like a television set. They look exactly like anchors, and they're talking exactly like anchors. And these pictures are taken from a Chinese. The Chinese are already using this kind of thing. They are literally creating fake AI generated. These are not real people. That's what I'm trying to say. These people do not exist. So they can create, and they can also, as you know, take video of a person you recognize and know, a major figure, and put words in their mouths that they didn't in fact say in their exact voice. And I want to know, how the hell are any of us supposed to know what is real and what is not? And there's no way. So they go on to say in this article that this deep fake technology, which is getting better and better, is going to create so much confusion, disinformation, misinformation. Countries will use it. Politicians will use it. Corporations will use it. Regular, ordinary old people you can get the software to do it can use it. So this software, which is readily available, I guess, can create humans out of whole cloth, going beyond the traditional kind of editing software and going beyond the special effects that you're used to seeing in Hollywood movies, right? And totally blurring the line between fact and fiction to a degree that none of us are capable of discerning. Headline: the people on screen are fake. The disinformation is real. So there, a very nice anchor man telling you absolute lies, messing with your head, and you have no way of knowing he doesn't exist. What kind of world are we getting into? Another reason to embrace aging. You have a better than even chance of exiting before things get so dystopian that it'll become unbearable. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Really something. Somebody sent me, Lori, and I never responded to you, I don't think. I don't know if I did or not. This is some time ago, and I'm just going to... Lori sent me something, and she said, I suspect that you saw this, but just in case. And it's a picture of my nemesis, Iggy Pop, at a concert. He's jumping around and big, huge crowd. And the headline, it's a piece, it's out on the internet. And it said, the headline is, when Iggy Pop was on Live at 5. Well, let me tell you, Lori, I never saw this. And when you sent it to me, it was like a gut punch, because this story is about my encounter with Iggy Pop 60 years ago. And it is rife with falsehoods. There is no tape that exists of that encounter. But people remember. I mean, it has grown in, and this is, somebody ended up writing a story about this moment that I have never been able to rid myself of. But, figured getting away from the scene of the crime. Live at 5 was the name of my talk show. It was on television and the CBS affiliate in Madison, Wisconsin, from 5 to 5:30. This is so bizarre because, and then I think we showed Walter Cronkite after that. He was on at 5:30, and then at 6, the local news. I can't quite remember the lineup, but I think that was it. Anyway, I told my Iggy Pop story a number of times. It could be that in the 60 years I have missed, things, memory changes stuff. I might have ameliorated certain things that would make me cringe. It was a cringe-worthy just experience. I mean, horrible. He was so unbelievably rude and obnoxious. And it happened right before I came here to Pittsburgh. But that there's this article that it exists, that people are still talking about it. And this is a publication, it's from last year, but it says, because Iggy and I are the same age. And it says, happy 75th birthday to the godfather of punk, Iggy Pop. Is it true that he once appeared on the WISC TV news show Live at 5? Apparently so. And then they go on, quoting what they call a local historian, Stu Levitan, who I swear I know. That name rings such a bell. I just can't quite place him. But he pulls up this outrageous article that was written by a scab reporter at the Capital Times who hated my guts, Gary Peterson. And it says here, it tells of the bizarre appearance of Iggy and apparently I asked him, what is punk rock? I really don't know. And it's true. I'm not asking the guy who invented it what it is seems like a reasonable thing to do for an audience of people who don't know. I said, I just don't know. This article says, and I don't remember this. What is punk rock? I asked. Answer, a term, he said, a term made up by opportunistic journalists. And I said, according to this, well, okay, but I still don't understand what punk is. And Iggy said, I'm sure you don't, babe. Now, that's where this, and it says by this time the guy who wrote the article said he was rolling on the floor in hysterics. What they don't go on to say is that when he said, "I'm sure you don't, babe," I said, "Nobody calls me babe." And that's where it went down. But to see that this thing lives, it's one of the problems of being in the profession I have been in my working life. Nothing goes away. Nothing dies. It's another kind of disinformation. So it can be resurrected. It can be, now this will enter, the archive of Lynn Cullen, Iggy Pop, and it's full of bull. The piece ends with, "Since this all happened on live TV, it's unlikely tape of it exists." That is true, which is a very sad thing. Lynn Cullen is currently a liberal radio talk show host in Pittsburgh, it says. Well, God, there's no getting rid of him. I'm plagued with Iggy for the rest of my life. Okay. Well, guys, there's so much here. And I've been wanting to talk about these articles. I have the same articles that are starting to yellow from age that I haven't gotten to. One's about rural America. Another is about fentanyl, which I have not spent much time talking about. And I think that is because I've always been somewhat confused about this particular scourge and who's behind it. And I'm aware of the capacity of this drug to kill an amazing number of people, to kill instantly. But it's only after these people have been addicted, most of them, to similar substances, painkillers. So this is like this is post-opioid, right? So it's an article that was an attempt to educate those of us who are thinking, what exactly is going on with this fentanyl? And where's it coming from? I swear I'll get to it next week. For those of you who might be just a little unsure, as am I. Not unsure of the scope of its destruction, but unsure of where it came from. Exactly. Okay. All right. So I think that's it, pretty much. Yeah. Okay. I have to go to another doctor's appointment because that's what old ladies do. We go to doctor's appointments. Yes, we do. Because old bodies come apart little by little, piece by piece. And you have to shore them up when you can. Which is another thing. Why having any unnecessary so-called elective surgery on an old body is insane. Save yourself for the surgeries you absolutely have to have. Yeah, dang. Anyway, that's it. Okay, I'm waiting for these high winds. Didn't they say it was supposed to be high winds? It's so still. Is this the calm before the storm? It is so still, there's not a twig moving. I don't know. Okay. Thank you for listening to me. Why? I'm not particularly sure, but I'm appreciative. I swear. Bye-bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.